On today's show, get ready for fall season with Game Fair. We visit Minnesota's unofficial kickoff to the autumn sporting season. And life's a beach, if you ask these lake workers. Find out what happens to all those weeds. Plus a festival in honor of a little creature as old as time itself.
Minnesota Bound, presented by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems.
Hey everybody, Laura and I welcome you to the show.
Up first, it's Minnesota's other big fair, Game Fair.
Ron Schera introduces you to a celebration of everything outdoors.
Since 1982, thousands of outdoor folks, mostly Minnesotans, have gathered for an event called Game Fair, held at Armstrong Ranch in Ramsey. What's Game Fair? Well, let's see. It's moms and dads, kids and dogs. It's rows of exhibits for things to try and buy. It's doggy games in Waterfowl Hill and, well, sad news too. This year's 2020 Game Fair has been canceled, shut down by a virus, something rainy weather could never do. But hey, we have memories and hope. So, coming up, let's remember. Chuck and Lorelei Delaney, who live at Armstrong Ranch, created Game Fair after seeing a similar event in England, which also featured outdoor games and dogs. Oh yes, the dogs. Dogs of every shape and color. Dogs aren't welcome at most fairs, but they're often stars of the show at Game Fair. And some canines show off their athletic agility. Agility Demos is a game of speed for the dog. Dog owners, not so much. Hard to say who's having the most fun in this game. Hey, we can't forget the voice of Game Fair.
How we doing today over there, huh? Welcome to Game Fair.
I have the easiest job. Chat with the folks.
Who do you have here?
We've got Mim here. She's a red-tailed hawk.
Introduce characters like Rebecca, the butterfly lady.
Rebecca is a Minnesota lady who got addicted to monarch butterflies some time ago, and 7 or 8 years ago, and she raises them, 7,000 to 10,000 of them a year.
Up next, the main attraction, Magic with a Shotgun, by trick shooter Travis Mears.
And this thing holds 13 rounds, and we're going to shoot them off as fast as we can. Are y'all ready? Here we go.
Did I mention tricks?
Well, I got my start doing trick shooting when I was about 17 years old. I was shooting professionally on the sporting clay circuit for Beretta USA. This is one of the coolest events of the year. All the great exhibition shooters have come to Game Fair to shoot, so it was a real treat to be invited up.
One more trick, Travis. How about making a dinner salad with a shotgun?
Salad first. Yep. There we go. I even did a potato salad.
Makes you hungry for the next Game Fair, August 13 to 15 and August 20 to 22 in the year 2021. See you there.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut, Coors Light, Star Bank, and by Alumacraft Boats.
Up next, Travis Frank heads to the lake, where he met one crew that decided life's a beach.
Beneath the surface of Minnesota's most popular and populated lake, underwater plants live a tangled life.
In Lake Minnetonka alone, I believe we have over 26 different species of plants. We only have 2 invasive plants in this lake, and that's Eurasian water milfoil and curly-leaf pondweed.
For some lakeshore property owners, Lake Minnetonka's invasive weeds present a growing problem.
I mean, it's such a beautiful lake. It's a treasure. We got to take care of it.
All right, guys, we're gonna work our way over to the native.
Josh Letty built a small army to fight back against these non-native plants growing where they don't belong.
Here, we'll start right along this edge of the pond. This is called Life's a Beach Shoreline Services, and we'll start working our way to the right. Sometimes you gotta get in there. Yeah, that's right.
They pull weeds by hand.
I wanted to work outside. I wanted to work with friends. I wanted to create, a kind of a team atmosphere.
Most of all, he wanted to protect his favorite lake.
We are the gatekeeper of Lake Minnetonka, as we like to think. We don't want to add any harmful chemicals into the lake.
Their work remains chemical-free.
You need to just go the hard way and start pulling things out of the lake. And the 2 guys come up, the next guy goes down, then we'll just continue to repeat the process until the weeds are gone.
Josh believes killing weeds with chemicals comes at a cost.
When you're not removing the plant, you're ruining the water quality. The plant is just dissolving and adding additional phosphorus and other nutrients to the lake that aren't beneficial to the ecosystem. Chemicals are getting stronger and stronger every year. Just this constant barrage of chemicals being introduced into the water, and it just has to stop.
His customers agree.
When we first moved out here, we used pellets just one season. First of all, I couldn't tell it made any difference. And second, philosophically, it didn't seem like the right thing to do. And then when we became aware of this service, this seemed much more appealing and effective, actually.
This is true restoration at its finest right here. We're very calculated in how we go about our work.
Josh's selective management approach
You can remove all the invasives.
gets to the root of the problem.
You allow the native plants to reestablish their root systems so that anything that's coming back is one of those native plants. So selective management is the way to go.
Removing invasive weeds adds up.
We pull about 20 to 25 tons of weeds every single day, sometimes more. So you're able to collect everything at the end, and then we haul it away to a compost site where the weeds are used as compost.
There, weeds get new life.
Primarily, we're using it to grow hops right now and other wonderful ingredients that may go into beer.
At his back channel brewery, Josh turns Lake Minnetonka's muck into gold.
It was actually a dream come true, and I'm super excited that it is right here, right now.
For the protector of clean water,
I don't take it for granted.
hard work comes full circle.
Yes, hence the name Life's a Beach, that's a fact. It's been a super privilege to call this area my home and to be able to work in the water on a daily basis.
Lake lovers here hope that Josh Letty never leaves.
If you'd like to check out other stories like this one, be sure to go to Amazon Prime. All of our full episodes are there, and it gives you a great opportunity to binge watch. Still ahead, we go back in time to celebrate the legacy of a Northwoods icon. But first, a festival in honor of bugs. Find out where next.
Closed captioning is brought to you by North Dakota Tourism.
Up next, a story about a festival all in the honor of an ancient environmental indicator, the dragonfly.
Illumicraft presents Kids in the Outdoors.
Oh, they are amazing.
What just landed on my head?
When a lot of people show up for a party being thrown in your honor, you know you must be special.
There's all kinds of really cool things about it. First is they're big and they're beautiful, and a lot of times when people hear insect or bug, they get creeped out.
A bash for a big insect? Now that's different.
Dragonfly Festival is a chance just to get people out, learn more about dragonflies, and really kind of get up close and personal with them. For some people, it might be their first time holding a dragonfly.
Of all the insects to honor, why dragonflies?
Dragonflies are a really good gateway insect, kind of like butterflies, to say, hey, these things are actually really cool. The other reason that we want to highlight is they're a biotic indicator. So they can be used by scientists to indicate how healthy an environment is.
Dragonflies spend most of their lives underwater as baby nymphs, and so their life and their health is really tightly knit together with water quality.
Do you want to hold the nymph?
There he goes.
So the better we understand dragonflies, the better we understand our waters and our lakes and our rivers and our streams.
A job they've had for millions of years.
The first direct ancestors of dragonflies, the fossil evidence we found is from 325 million years ago. That's before reptiles were laying eggs on land. It's very prehistoric. This is the size that our fossils indicate the first dragonflies or griffinflies were.
Thankfully, today they are smaller, yet just as important.
They are also predators. And so in their larva stage underwater, they're eating the larvae of deer flies, horse flies, mosquitoes, all these things that we find aggravating. And then as adults, they're eating deer fly, horse flies, mosquitoes, all the things we find aggravating.
Fewer mosquitoes and deer flies?
This is a female.
Hey, sign me up for this festival.
Yep, you are correct. That is a female. We have a dragonfly tent where you can just kind of walk through the tent, and we have it stocked full of dragonflies, almost like a butterfly tent. Dragonflies are flying all around you. You can really look at them up close. They can go down to our pond and they can look for baby dragonflies and baby damselflies, which are the cousins of dragonflies. So they can dip in there and try to catch them and look at them, as well as all the other creatures that live in the pond with the dragonflies. Ones that really I think people like to get out and do, they can run through our prairie and catch dragonflies and identify the different species that we have.
How many species?
Somewhere around 130 species in Minnesota, but that number is changing. Large parts of Minnesota, we have not documented dragonflies, and so we're constantly finding new dragonflies.
Out of 130, we're bound to catch one species in the prairie.
Get it! Get the darner!
Aren't we?
Wait, let it land, let it land, let it land!
Whoa!
Okay, there it is.
Easy. Oh. They are quick, I'll tell you that. You know, I've been hunting for a lot of things. I think this sounds like the most difficult species to hunt down, I'm gonna be honest.
It's pretty tricky. I think you might, I think you got it. Okay, perfect, yep. All right, so this is a 4-spotted skimmer because it's got 4 spots, 1 spot on each wing.
Miss Dragonfly, thanks for the fun. We're gonna release you back in the wild to eat those mosquitoes. Time to go.
This festival is entertaining, but the main goal here is to educate.
The best thing you can do is think about planting natives. If you have natives in your yard, I do that. It's great. I don't have to mow my yard. They do really well.
One small thing to help protect an insect with a big job and an important one: keeping our planet healthy.
We say it all the time, introduce a kid to the great outdoors. Well, I'm finally learning what that truly means. I have 2 really young kids that I'm trying to get into fishing, and the first thing I noticed when I went to buy them a reel is that pretty cheaply made. So here's a couple things to consider. 1, when you pick up a reel, press the button and make sure that when you close the bail, it actually engages the line. Second thing is the line is a lot of times really old. So when I got home, I replaced it with fresh line. That way, when my kids go to cast, they don't have twirls or knots in the line. I just want them to have a good experience. Having good line and a good working reel gives them a better chance to catch that fish.
Up next, we go back in time with the Boundary Waters Root Beer Lady.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Shields, Bent Creek Golf Club, Eden Prairie, and by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Today's Minnesota Bound Classic takes us back to 2002.
The year Belinda Jensen looked at the life of a Boundary Waters legend.
Well, just imagine after a long day in the backlands, you don't get in your car and go home, you don't walk back to camp, you just stay right here. Well, that's exactly what Dorothy Moelter did every day of her life, because this is where she lived.
She lived a life in Mother Earth's garden. Her neighborhood was made of islands. Her neighbors were wild critters. And if there was a neighborhood ruckus, it was usually made by loons. This was Dorothy Moelter's way of life. A life spent living alone in a wilderness cabin on Knife Lake, deep in the heart of the BWCA, Minnesota's Boundary Waters Canoe Wilderness Area.
She was just finishing up nursing school, right out of Chicago, and didn't know anything about the North Country. But she was just fascinated by the whole thing, just absolutely fascinated.
Dorothy became an icon of the wilderness. Visitors came to the BWCA to seek solitude, but also to visit her.
She liked people. She wanted to share her feelings for the Boundary Waters and for the wilderness area that she was living in.
A national magazine once wrote that Dorothy was the loneliest woman in the world.
She just hooted over that because she kept a logbook in there, and we have it up at the museum now. And she had between 5,000 and 6,000 visitors a year. She said loneliest, she said, I'm probably the least loneliest woman in the world.
To thirsty canoeists and anglers, she also became known as the Root Beer Lady. Limit 2 per person. But Dorothy was not a recluse.
Oh, no. And she came out, in the winter she usually came out for a month or more. She was very complex, and to try to simplify her was very difficult because there was a lot of facets to Dorothy. She, one thing about her which is very interesting, she had large hands, extremely large hands. Well, those hands that could take an axe and split wood with anybody could also set the leg, a broken leg on a chickadee. I've seen her do it.
One day in December of 1986, Dorothy didn't respond to a radio call.
They found her near the wood stove. She had just put wood in the stove, and so that's where they found her.
The Root Beer Lady was gone, but her memory lives on. And now, in an Ely museum, visitors still come to her cabin.
People couldn't let that die. There were just too many people loved that woman and figured this is a piece of history, and this is somebody who should be remembered.
From the back roads of northern Minnesota, I'm Belinda Jensen.
I was lucky enough to paddle and visit her cabin back in the day. I don't ever remember meeting her, but at least we got to see where she lived out her life.
A true inspiration. Well, that about does it for us. We'll see you back here next week.
In the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.